We're rethatching this very old cottage listed building. We're changing the materials from wheat straw to water reed, which we have been given listed building consent. The owner has applied and been granted listed building consent to change materials, which is rare in Hampshire, but due to the shortage of straw this year and last year and the year before, this was in dire need of being rethatched as it was leaking, so the listed building consent was given. Well, from this you can see the tarpaulins that were on the roof, particularly on the back elevations, and the gullies that have formed where the thatch hasn't quite been joined as well as it maybe could have done. I believe it was leaking around the chimney, but that was more to do with the failure of the ridge and the flashings around the chimney than anything. But it had been in a poor state for a couple of years. You can see here that we've stripped off an old coat and we've stabilised the base with various fixings across so that we've got a nice strong base to spar the new coat of water reed on top. Water reed is often laid straight on timbers, but in this case we're laying it like straw to mimic straw in a spar coated way. So all this is held on to the coat underneath with twisted hazel spars. Charlie is at the top there fixing a ridge roll, couple of ridge rolls which build up the height of the ridge because they deteriorate very much quicker than the rest of the roof, and they had disintegrated quite considerably. There's some good villages in Hampshire for thatching.
These are wire pins. They are actually used just to hold the chicken wire on when we're done, but we use them for everything. At the moment, we're using them for temporary fixings, just to hold it all on, but the spars will fix on the final fixing. Just the water reed slides around all over the roof, so you need to hold it in.
So this is our Willow. She's thatching away here, joining her bundles in. She's doing weather joins between each bundle. As you put every bundle on, you have to run your hands up between them so you merge and meld the bundles and the reeds together so you don't get any weather joints that water could run down. So in effect you're making the whole roof all together rather than individual bundles. So she's doing that. She's now putting a temporary fixing across just to hold that in position, which she will remove shortly once she's dressed it in place. So she's just temporarily fixing that in with some pins, and she's going to dress it with her legget, which is the tool she has in her hand. So she's dressing that out. And the key to thatching really is to try and make everything run in a straight line, and so you don't see joins. So that she's got courses here that she's laid. She's just laying this course or set at the moment, so you can see where the old course is, and when she doesn't hit my fingers, she's going to pull out that and join those two courses so you don't get course marks. And a good thatched roof you shouldn't see any course marks on really. And she will leave a lip on each course, which she will dress off into the next course to avoid these sort of marks. So you can see she's now dressing out that course mark, and it all runs smoothly, and you then shouldn't be able to tell one course from another. You're testing her out now.
I know, it's quite funny, isn't it?
Testing you out. And then once she's got those in position, she'll probably move along to another one, her other bundle, do the same thing with that, and then she would put the permanent fixing in. Willow is one of, how many reckon now, Willow? 5 or 6 female thatchers?
I reckon you know of about 15 now.
15?
Easily.
Wow.
Scottish man's entire team is women, so that
Oh, right.
bumps up a lot.
In this area, there are very few female thatchers, but it is becoming more common. And the reed we're using here was from Norfolk. We're very lucky. We've got a supplier of Norfolk reed. Most thatchers in Hampshire, in the country, are unable to get Norfolk reed. Percentage-wise, I would think Norfolk supplies about 3 to 5% of the reed used in this country annually, somewhere around 150,000 bundles, and the industry as a whole uses millions. So most of those are imported, but there's nothing quite like using Norfolk. So Charlie's clearing up. Charlie's been with me a year and he's doing extremely well. And Paddy has been with me 3 years.
3 years now, yeah.
But his father was a thatcher and sadly died young. And Paddy's thatching away in tribute to his dad, and is doing an extremely good job of it. They both are, both Willow and Paddy. Because this is a reed roof, the sharpness we will get will be, at the end of the job, we will dress that in to a nice sharp edge like that. But if it was a straw roof, we would be cutting that with shears. So we dress that in like that. So then you get your nice sharp edge just by dressing.
So really your hand is like a tool, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you kind of dress it in with your hand, sort of roughly where you're going to get it, and then sort of temporary fix it. Like this. This bottom line comes out, it's just a temporary fixing. And then, sort of, when you're happy, dress it up with the legget, and it makes all the reeds a bit more uniform. And then when you're happy with that, after a bit of playing around, you give it a permanent fixing further up.
So what will the sort of finished thickness be, the whole lot?
So it's around 14 inches. Yeah, a little bit thicker on the bottom because we're trying to achieve sort of a more rounded bottom and get it up. But yeah, it should be about 14 by the end.
So this is Joe and Hugh. There are subcontractors who are doing the same method as the other side. These are brothers too. Forgot to say it, Joe and Hugh. Joe's been thatching 10 years and
10 years, yeah.
Hugh's been going 13, so they're nicely experienced. Going to set up on their own soon, I think, so they'll be looking for work.
Competition.
Yeah, stealing my work. No, they're good lads. I've trained probably half the thatchers that work in Hampshire. I've trained over the years and have become competition, so get used to it. Part of the job, really. So you can see above where they're working the base coat, which is the old layers of thatch that have been there for decades, possibly even 100 years. The final base coat underneath there we've secured by putting sways across and sparring it in, just to give them a nice firm sponge-like base to spar into their new coat, so that this is solid and doesn't fall off. You know, when it's solid, you can't pull it out, won't move, because it's so well secured into the base.
Really, you're doing a lot by eye, aren't you, really? You're not like, you haven't got a tape measure or anything else.
That's it, there's no levels or anything, it's mainly by eye. Yeah, it's the sort of thing you just get the knack of eventually. That's what they do in Norfolk. Yeah, I saw someone in Norfolk. And to be honest.
Back in the 80s, I was a loss adjuster. Late 80s, I got sent on a seminar with the company to find out about thatch for the office, and I got interested in the subject, and I met a guy who was running a franchise of thatchers, and I bought a franchise in the late 80s, so I was taught to thatch quite quickly over a short period, and then they supported you in your early days. Sadly, the franchise doesn't exist anymore, but that got me going, and so I've been thatching nearly 40 years now, in Hampshire, mainly Isle of Wight, Sussex, but I have been all around the world to Virgin Islands, Taiwan, USA and Ireland, and different parts of the country, but mainly in this southern area. The ridge is a block ridge, ornamental block ridge, which you can see Paddy cutting behind, and they've patterned some of it out. We are actually using a straw block, which is the bit they cut, and then it's got a wrap over of sedge, which is a tougher material than straw and sits tighter, grown in Norfolk as well, and we're again lucky to have that sort of a supply of that, and the guys like it.
I'm doing an upcut, which sort of sharpens the edge and gets the thickness, because I want about a mallet. That's the thickness we're going for, so this all needs to come down, and then we use the mallet like this just to sort of bash it all together like that, and then we get it a little bit denser and all together. 3 cuts I do with the cutting out the ridge. You've got a cut like this to get the shape, a cut like that to sharpen, and then a cut down like this to get the sort of the bulk out. So I've been with Phil 3 years, but I grew up doing it with my dad a bit, but Phil's taught me most of the stuff other than labouring, most of the thatching and the fiddly stuff.
It's got to be something you enjoy then.
Yeah, from the blood.
Yeah.
I think when you grow up with it, it's hard to not want to do it.
Willow and Paddy, who are working for me now, they've been with me, well, Willow 4 years, Paddy just a little less, although Paddy's dad was a thatcher prior to that, and they're brilliant, and they're going to hopefully take this on when I'm decrepit and can't do it anymore, which is getting ever closer, I guess.
So this is pattern work. These are made of ash, or you can use straight spars for a more authentic look. We quite like using these pieces of ash just because they're nice and straight, and they look really, always look nice and square and straight and neat. But this just holds all of the loose fluffy bits of the ridge together, so it makes a real nice firm ridge that'll hold and last, hopefully. Well, I saw a Facebook post that Phil done a while ago now, looking for a new apprentice because he said his back was hurting and he needs some help, and I thought it's never too late to start afresh. So messaged him and gave it a go. So pretty out of the blue.
Not something you'd been thinking about?
No, not even remotely. I just saw it on like a listed buildings forum, and I was ready for a career change anyway, so thought, screw it, let's try that. Out in the fresh air, much nicer. So yeah, glad I did. Worked out quite well.
Every 10 years to 12 years you need a new ridge. This coat work should be up there for 30 or so years if it's maintained properly with a new ridge every 10 years.
A labouring job, which normally we'd have Charlie doing, but he's not well. So the boss has to do it.
We're getting close to the end of the job, and it will hopefully see the owners through for another 30 years or so.
So here we are in Micheldever. You can see the finished result of the roof. It took us around 5 weeks from start to finish because it is such a big job, but we did have lots of hands on deck. The final result we're really happy with. It looks absolutely beautiful. We were going for a straw shaped roof to mimic the straw that was on there before, and we're pretty pleased that we've achieved that, as we should last another 30 or more years before it needs another rethatch. And we do hope to be called in 10 years' time to put a new ridge on there when the time comes. But yeah, overall, we're really happy with the job, happy with the time frame, and we're looking forward to the next one.